And of course, I'd like to introduce our amazing faculty and dean and today's presenters. Today we have Craig Udale, Michael Olson, James McLean, Catherine O'Donnell, Peter Storm, Justin Downs, Olaf Mertens, and Scott Batchelor, who will take you through what Niagara College has to offer.
Good morning, everyone. There's a couple of handsome fellas. On behalf of all the faculty in culinary skills, culinary management, welcome. I'm glad you are showing interest in our program here at Niagara. Just want to go over a few things and let you know what we have to offer. We have a certificate program called Culinary Skills. So if you're looking to boost your gastronomic creativity in pursuit of a rewarding career in the culinary industry, this might be for you. It's a one-year certificate. So as a culinary skills graduate, you have developed the culinary confidence and competence needed to create world-class cuisine. So that's our one-year offering. And for a two-year diploma, there's a culinary management program, which includes a co-op term as well. So I would say this one is a little more involved. The first years are common amongst the two courses. So you can, there's more information at the end of this about moving forward, but there's opportunities if you take the one-year program to move into the two-year program because the first year is pretty much common. So what can you expect if you come to Niagara College and to the CFWI and into our programs? We have a great reputation for graduates. Employers love our graduates. They're always seeking graduates, industry partners as well. There's lots of hands-on content. The facilities, as President Kennedy had mentioned, are very up-to-date, current, and very well equipped. And so a great hands-on learning environment and leading-edge facilities. I'm humbled to be part of the faculty here, of a great group of world-class chef faculty. I'm glad to be included in that number. So with current industry leaders that share their skills and the information necessary to make you successful in your culinary career. There's lots of industry and community engagement through not-for-profit and catered events, internal and external competitions, and even the possibilities to get involved in industry research and innovation. One of the big things that students seem to always ask is, how much time do I actually spend cooking, in the kitchen, in the culinary labs? And it's about 60% of your in-class time will be hands-on learning in culinary labs, cooking, baking, and practicing essential kitchen skills and techniques that you'll need to become a culinary professional. Next one.
And practicing is important, as you can see.
And the other 40% of the time, well, other courses explore food nutrition, food safety, kitchen management, the theory surrounding foods and food ingredients, and beverages as well. We have a large component in our school, our CFWI, of beer. We have a brewing program, several wine programs, and a distilling program. So beverages are a big part of what we do here as well. If you're thinking about, well, what would I do with a diploma or a certificate? The one-year certificate would probably land you in a position of a cook, line cook, maybe eventually a sous chef or a chef down the road. The two-year diploma, you're looking at maybe a kitchen manager, a chef, sous chef, And there's some entrepreneurial courses as well involved in the 2-year program and the management part of it that might help you start your own culinary business at some point down the road as well. So there's some pathways, so agreements for culinary students that you can take advantage of after your graduation or after you receive your diploma and certificate, that you can move to different schools, different programs, and get advanced standing in programs in our curriculum as well as in other schools across the world. And there's a few more of those. So some of those would include culinary innovation, food technology, hospitality, hotel and restaurant operations, and even some of the beverage programs we talked about might pique your interest while you're here. There's a couple of graduates who they graduated about 5 years apart, came together eventually and opened their own restaurant, and they've been receiving accolades locally as well as nationally. The Hotel Distillery Institute shows them as amongst their 30 under 30, so the top people in the country as far as restaurant operations. And 2 students I remember very well and are very successful, and I visit their restaurant from probably as much as often as I can, and more so than most that I go to. The sort of shining examples of what they've sort of made their own way in the industry and decided that opening their own business was the way to go, because then they could control their lives and their schedules, and they've been very successful at it. So as it says, there's no better time. And there's our president, Sean Kennedy, had said, and you can see some from these photos and other things that you'll see today, that we have beautiful campuses. I mean, even faculty from other colleges, when they arrive here for visits, are just overwhelmed by how nice our campuses are. And we owe a lot to the programs that are on our campuses for keeping them that way. We have a big horticultural program as well, landscape technicians and things like that. So I hope to see you all here soon, and see if I can pass you over to Michael Olson. Michael, have you got anything you can add? I'm sure you do.
Always. I love talking about food, so I've always got something to add. Well, thanks, Jim, and welcome everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. The cool thing that I heard today was when President Kennedy said that we're going to be allowing tours on campus, because I feel like the last number of terms have almost been a private club, because the only people that have been allowed on campus over the duration of the pandemic have been the staff and the students. So normally where we have people coming in to see our really awesome facilities and the surroundings, we haven't been able to share that. So for those of you that do live nearby and you want to see the campus, I'd recommend that you book a tour to see the action. And I was thinking about when Sean Kennedy was talking about walking through the hallways. You've probably been through an exploration of different pathways to post-secondary education. And something that's always good to know is that a college experience is about engaged, active learning. It's not just reading books. It's not listening to lectures. You're slicing and dicing. If you're in horticulture, you're digging. If you're in the kitchen, you're baking, you're cooking, you're doing all these things. And it's so exciting to see people actively learning, because you do go home every day having learned something new. And what's awesome is that we tend to attract learners that like to be creative and like to work with their hands, and they like to see results. I know that for some people, they're happy to do some work and just be part of it. But I think that what attracts people to the hospitality business is that you really do see results from your efforts, whether that's producing a great main course or a bunch of vegetables or a pastry, or working in a restaurant and knowing, man, we just fed 100 different people today and made them really happy. There's that sense of gratification that you get from doing this. What's important is, like any craft, you have to learn the basics. So what we do is bring you in and show you how to set up your station, how to use the right tools, how to manipulate things, because we're not doing magic tricks. We're simply applying some basic skills to food. So in the case of carrots, I know that I don't want to eat the outside, so I peel them before I start trimming them. I want to be very much aware of safety and sanitation, so I wear a uniform that keeps me and the food clean, and I follow a list of procedures. And what this brings around is that you're going to find that we have an approach that's a really good balance between art and science. The science part is knowing how to cook, how to steam, poach, boil, bake, fry, how to use a knife to shape things, how to use the right tools. And eventually you'll get to the point where you're going to be able to express your creative side. You don't start off by doing that, but at a certain point you will be able to put that artistic part of yourself onto the plate, and eventually you'll develop your own style. It's not a race, it's not a rush, and what we do is concentrate on those basics that'll make you a good cook. And when I think about what we teach, it's not geared towards one specific job. So we're not lining you up to be the pastry assistant at this place. We're not looking at you being the grill cook at this restaurant. We're giving you a well-rounded set of skills so you can go through your career and determine what works best for you, because there are so many different avenues in hospitality. If you want to cook in a hotel versus a club versus a restaurant, if you want to travel, if you like a scientific approach and you want to get into product development at a company, or be an inspector of some sort, these are all jobs that stem from this basic set of fundamentals that you'll pick up. I'm not really doing a demonstration. I'm just sort of cooking along, and I'd like to share the mic with some of our other colleagues out there. And then folks, don't hesitate. If you have questions, you can type them in, and we have a group of experts that will be able to answer them. I know Olaf, Scott, Justin's out there. We probably have a couple of others. And
Michael, we have 3 students that have joined us now.
Oh,
who
great.
joined the program just this past fall. So they would have some information and insight into what coming to and getting to and starting programs here at Niagara College in culinary and might be. So if people have any questions, you can field those, or if you guys have anything that you would like to share with prospective students or students who are confirmed and coming in the next few months, that would be great.
Have you got there today?
Well, Adrian.
Hello. Yes, please ask questions. I did not prepare any script, so it's all off the cuff.
Vinny or Carly, do you have anything that you would recommend or like to say to new or prospective students coming our way?
Actually,
oh, can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Hi, my name is Carly. I am in my first year at Niagara College. I'm currently taking culinary skills, so I actually have Chef McLean and Chef Downs as my chefs for my in-person labs. And I think the biggest thing that I've learned so far is that being prepared for the labs is going to pay off, because so many times I spend a couple hours or just the day before preparing, writing out all my lists for ingredients, and like planning the time frame for the whole lab, and just planning your plating and all that stuff. And then when you get into the labs, it's a lot more fun when you are prepared and when you have an idea of what you're doing. So then you can watch the demos that the chefs show, and then go back to your station and work with the people at your table. And honestly, I have learned a lot in the 9 weeks, I think, that school's been going on, like way more than I thought I would. And it's really hands-on, and there's a lot that you learn, even if you haven't cooked a lot previously. You're going to learn a lot of basics, and you're just going to gain a ton of skills, like way more than you may think just looking at a culinary skills program. So,
Connie, did you have a job in a kitchen before you started at the college?
I only worked at in a camp kitchen, in an industrial kitchen, for 2 summers, but other than that, it's just cooking at home.
Well, good for you. Do you recommend for new students, is it a good thing that you've worked in a kitchen, or is it absolutely imperative that you have experience before you arrive at the college?
I wouldn't say that you need to have experience in a kitchen, because the chefs do start at the basics and they do help you. And if you have questions, you can call them over and you can ask them a question. You can go up front and ask them a question. And also sometimes the people at your station, like, you can see what they're doing, or they can help you along too. So it's not, you don't need prior experience, but maybe if you do, you can draw from that when you're in the labs, but it's not important.
Well, you talked about cooking at home. I always encourage our students, just cook everything you can get your hands on, because it's like any other endeavor. If you want to get good at a musical instrument or a sport or anything, it takes practice. You don't just pick up a knife and start inventing new dishes, right? Adrian, how about you? Did you have any restaurant experience?
I did work at a bar before coming here, and Sundays I worked the kitchen by myself. It's very much different than an actual structured kitchen, though. You're only by yourself making fried stuff, basic stuff. But I do love cooking
Adrian
at home.
does cook a lot at home, because I hear the stories when he comes into the lab, and I hear get a few samples, as well as Vinny has brought me some really good stuff as well. So I know both of them are busy cooking at home.
Where you get the extra marks from. Anyway.
Good plan. Management.
But yeah, it's, even if you're only have even home cooking experience, you do learn like the good ways on how to cook, not even just properly, but even just better. And you'll learn it like very quickly just by being in a kitchen cooking all the time and learning the good structure on how to cook and such. And the best advice I can give is to like talk to the chefs. Like, there's never any dumb questions. You can always go talk to them and ask them, like, hey chef, how do you, I don't know, I've been doing this thing for 2 months now, and I lost my train of thought. How do you do this again? And like, they'll always show you how to do it. They'll never leave you in the dirt. And even if you're falling behind, they're always there to like pick you back up, show you what to do, how to do it. And it's very welcoming.
And where did you come from, Adrian?
I am from Alberta. It was a hell of a drive. And it was a little intimidating coming here, especially by myself. I just took my car and all my stuff with it. So yeah, if anybody's got questions on, especially if you're traveling from out of province, give you tips, advice. Google Maps is the #1 tool for me. It will get you through everything, but it will not prepare you for the traffic of the 401.
Vinny, do you have anything to add?
Hi, Chef.
Hello. What was your experience like joining us here in Niagara College?
Hi, everyone. My name is Bidney. I'm doing culinary skills, and I doesn't have any experience or knowledge about the culinary profession. But when I came here, the faculty or the chefs who supported me a lot, or they guide me through a good way. So that's why I am somehow gradually becoming a professional in culinary, and I doesn't have no idea about what is culinary, but I believe that I can be a good professional. I can glow in this profession with the help of the Niagara College and the chef faculties. And it's very good experience for me, and I'm looking forward for more good things or new things to learn. Thank you, everyone. And I hope even we don't know anything, the chef or by the supporting or for the proper guiding, we can gain a good profession.
Thank you. There's a question here from a prospective student about living on campus. Does anybody live in residence?
Yep.
Any of these three?
Yeah, me and Carl, you're both on res.
Okay, so the question was, how's on-campus dorm life as a culinary student?
It can be a bit of a challenge, especially if like there's if you're seeking something culinary, you're obviously love cooking. And it can be a struggle sometimes, especially with juggling. There's a shared kitchen, and with the current rules for COVID and such, only one person can be in there at a time. So it can be kind of a struggle to, like, if you want to like slow roast a rib, you have to be like in there for 4 hours, and you kind of like take up all that time. The best advice I can give is get a rice cooker. That's mostly where I cook a lot of my stuff. Be like, I don't know, you'll learn different things on like what's for like what's easy to make versus what's like what you want to make, and it can be easy to just get microwavable, like easy frozen stuff, but it's definitely good, especially to challenge yourself with actually like still trying to like make your own stuff. And you will get a lot of food from the labs. So your grocery list for extra shopping is not going to be much. You're going to be getting a lot of food.
I think that's a really good point.
I know I've had students in the past who organized study groups around what food they were bringing home from lab, and they would get together and eat the food that was produced in labs and talk about upcoming assignments and upcoming work and stuff like that. So yeah, there's definitely some opportunities to share. You'll have happy roommates if as a culinary student, if your roommate isn't a culinary student, because they'll be happy to share your food.
If Carly or Adrian goes back to the dorm with a box full of incredible baked goods or something delicious they made in class, I'm sure that they're welcome.
Absolutely.
Do you want to, speaking of baking, do you want to talk a bit of, we'll pass it over to Kathy and Peter so they can talk about baking? And look, what a coincidence. They have the same wallpaper in their own homes.
Isn't that something else?
Welcome. I'm Catherine O'Donnell, one of the pastry instructors here, and
I'm Peter Storm.
Peter Storm is with me, and we're going to walk you through what we have to offer here at the college. We have an amazing program. It's a 1-year certificate program. So at the end of our 1 year, you have most of the basic skills to get a basic job. It doesn't mean you can't exceed that. Many of our students have gone right into restaurants and can plate desserts and all those things. We try to cover everything that is basic. So you don't have to come in with any experience. You've never had to bake before. We start you right at the ground with how to make a loaf of bread, how to scale, how to do all those things. And then from there, you can build on those skills as we get to the end of the program, where you get to do wedding cakes and chocolate work. And we know that those are the real selling points of the program. And they're actually our favorite part of the program. Chef Storm is a master at chocolate, and I'm pretty handy at the cakes. And we have to admit that those are our favorite parts to teach and your favorite parts to learn. But all the other skills you do need. So we do teach them along the way to you. So we can go to the next slide. We have a phenomenal facility here, and 2 of the students in this bottom left hand were our Niagara College students. That's Danny and Carol, and both of them are in the industry still. Danny is a chef and Carol is a pastry chef. There are so many opportunities out there for you to go forward in becoming a pastry chef. You don't have to become a pastry chef. You can just end up at Sobeys or theirs, and those are all amazing opportunities. Or you can head your life into doing artisan breads, and we touch on all of it. So when you leave our 1-year certificate, you have a balance of all of the techniques. We have an amazing facility for it. Our kitchens have chocolate tempering machines, and we are actually in the process of getting another one with an enrober. So there's going to be even more opportunities to learn of what's going on. And we're always trying to stay current. We have some amazing part-time teachers who still work in the industry, which helps keep Chef Storm and I current on new trends and what's happening, and making sure that our program stays current with the industry need. So if we go to the next slide. Okay, so our campus is probably in the best area because we have a lot of winery restaurants that need young pastry people to go in and design desserts. You have the opportunity at our campus of learning how to make sauces with the wines that we have on campus, plus the herbs from the horticulture programs, and then we have our distilling programs, and you can make some amazing sauces through that, and we help guide you along the way on how to do all that. And if we go to the next slide. So this is the truffle making course. So you make chocolates and truffles and everything you make, you take. You have many friends, and one of the opportunities is kind of getting to know some of the culinary students, so you can swap out some of their culinary food for chocolate work or the pastries or the bread or brownies or date squares. And we cover all of that. And to the next slide. Okay, so we also take you through a phenomenal theory program, which I'll let Peter talk a bit more about the ingredients.
Yeah, you know, in order to become a very good, successful baker, you really have to understand what the ingredients are doing for you. You're not just throwing something in a mixing bowl and having something come out without some chemical reaction actually happening, right? So the theory course is designed, it works in tandem with the lab, but it's designed to allow you to understand what each ingredient does. So by the time you actually have something coming out of the oven, you know what's going on and why it's actually in there. It's a good way to understand and be able to develop the recipes that you will eventually, if you stay within the industry, you will be creating your own recipes and formulations. So the theory class is designed to allow you to understand what they do so you can actually do that.
Next slide, maybe. Okay, so it is a hands-on. You are in the labs for 14 hours a week, and you make everything. It's not, we don't just demo it and say, this is how it's done. You are getting right in there and making it. And we want you to make as many mistakes as you can there so that you can learn from your mistakes. And I think that's one of the strongest points here, is that our goal is for you to come in, make a mistake, learn from the mistake, do it again, and really have a better understanding of why it happens and how it happens. Okay, next one. So this is kind of one of our wedding cake classes that we did. This was one of the wedding cakes our student made. And these are on the left-hand side, some of the breads that you make in our program. So we've tried to show you things that you have the ability, or what you are actually going to make. We spend about 6 weeks on bread, but we break it up, and you get a full 2 weeks of 14 hours each to make one wedding cake. So you spend a whole week making flowers and then a whole week decorating, which is honestly, it's amazing. So there's a good balance there. So when you leave, you have a good grounding. Next slide. Okay, and then this is some of the chocolate work you do. Do you want to talk about chocolate?
Chocolate, chocolate's one of the higher end ingredients that we use. It's an extremely expensive medium to use. So we walk you through what to do with it, how it's being worked, and you will be producing a variety of chocolate confections as well as a small chocolate showpiece. In addition, chocolate's used throughout the course. The course is designed from start to finish to give you a very good basic understanding as to all the mixing, all the baking, all the shaping of all the product that you're basically going to use throughout the industry. So the baking, really, there's a handful of processes. It's just how you organize and how you put the formulations together. Method of operation is what we call it. So by the time you walk out, you will have been given the opportunity to learn all the different processes to create all the different products you could possibly think of making. And chocolate is definitely one of those mediums. It's actually my favorite. I eat it every day by the handful if it's around me. And I also, this is one of the places where you can actually play and eat with your food at the same time. So it's a wonderful thing to do.
Next slide, Meg. Okay. So we do touch on some of the more modern things like cake pops and mini cheesecakes. Plating desserts is really only a little bit, because our program actually just touches on all the different elements. And then when you leave, you'll be able to take those elements and put them together. Okay, next slide. And then this is our facility. So we have a whole room, if you're looking on your left-hand side there, of ovens, and we split them between the two labs. And then in the middle photo is our chocolate room. And we have just ordered a second machine, which is really, really exciting. And then on the right hand is your actual lab. So there's 2 students per lab, or per table per lab. You have a mixer, your own stovetop. So you're not sharing with someone else. It's completely on your own. We do not work in a lot of groups or teams on most of what we do. There's only 2 days in our whole program that you are actually in a team. So everything you do is for you. You do it, you make it, you make your mistake or you make your success. And every single thing you make is with some really awesome ingredients. We don't use chemicals or anything like that in our program. Our program is butter, flour, sugar, all the natural things that are out there. Next slide. Okay, and then these are some of our graduates, and all of them are actually still in the industry, which is really phenomenal that we get to keep in touch with all of these girls, and every one of them is still baking. Doesn't mean there's not guys in our program. There's some phenomenal guys. We would like more of them. So these are some of the chocolate work in the middle there that they've done. We, on the left-hand side, have days, hopefully once the COVID restrictions eases up, we had a cake club, and we had a day where 2 people not knowing each other had to make a cake together, where they would come into the lab, do part of it, and then they'd walk out a door and the other person came in and had to work on it. And they did it in 20-minute intervals, and they kept coming in. And when they'd come back, the other person's style was in the cake, and you had to develop a cake at the end, which makes it an awful lot of fun to do. Next slide. So the pathways, really, they have the Swiss Grand Diploma. For us, we always really kind of suggest that when you've left our one-year program, go out, find a job, learn what's out there. You can also take a lot of, Niagara College has some kind of little programs that you can take to keep advancing your skills. We are in the development, hopefully, of a 2-year program, and then you'd be able to come back and really advance your skills. But I always believe take a year and kind of hone in on the skills that we've given you in the 1 year, and then we can look at other programs, or you can transfer into culinary. They have absolutely amazing programs, and vice versa. Culinary, you can come into our baking program. And each program is a complete separate program. So you don't kind of not take the baking part if you've taken it in the culinary, because it's a totally different program. We don't cross over much of the product whatsoever. So great opportunities on both sides of culinary and baking because they are separate programs. Do we have a so realistically, there are so many avenues that you can go into. If you take our program, you can become a full-out baker. You can become a pastry chef. You can become a kitchen manager. You can actually take it. There is so much opportunity right now in research and development. You look at the grocery stores now, learning how to take baking, freeze it for a longer shelf life. We have an amazing innovation program, and a couple of our pastry students have gone into the innovation of it in developing new ideas. We have, when you look at the world now, you have vegan and lactose free and gluten free. And these are all avenues that once you've taken the basic program, you can kind of root yourself into some of these other programs to develop. There's just so many opportunities for it. Anything you'd like to say, Peter, on it?
No, I think you've covered pretty well most of it. I'm just answering this.
Oh, that one, yes. So from our end, if you have any questions, please just ask. There's so much more to our program, but I would really suggest, if you'd like to see it, to come and do a walk through our halls and have a better opportunity to ask questions about what we have to offer.
I think that what's pretty clear from the different speakers we've had is that, you know, for somebody looking to learn a bit about the trade of cook or baker, what the college offers is a living library of different people that can influence your education. So let's be real. If you wanted to get a job as a cook, you don't really have to go to school because you could get a job. But everybody that works here and everybody that attends understands that when you go to a post-secondary education with a carefully crafted curriculum, a good set of facilities, a great staff that really wants you to learn, you will be learning at a faster pace than just absorbing things on the job. The other advantage is you're going to have so many different influences, and we all have our different strengths and styles, that you will be able to learn from an entire group of people. And to me, that's the real advantage of going to college, especially at Niagara, where we have this very friendly, caring attitude. We're not a big college. We're sort of a small town college where we get to know the students. Sadly, I only know them by their eyes now because everybody's been wearing masks the whole time I've known them. Mavis, is Craig Udale with us?
And then both Chef Storm and I can put our emails up here. And if anyone is interested in the baking and pastry program and you have questions, you can always email us and we can give you more information. Sometimes, you know, it's not on paper. You can, you know, do we make this or do we make that? Or how do I, you know, what are the expectations? Feel free to reach out to either of us and we can kind of answer any questions after today for you.
Kathy?
Yes.
You said that you're getting a new chocolate machine that has an enrobing feature?
We
yes,
are.
I'm looking very excited at that one.
We are very excited.
For those who don't know, enrobing means chocolate covered. So I need to know, what's the first thing that each of you is going to cover in chocolate?
You.
How about you, Kathy?
I wasn't going in that direction. So practical here. I was thinking chocolate caramels, but because they're my, but you know, Peter took it into another avenue. But yes, we're actually really excited. Like we had to do a lot of research on what we could have and what would benefit students the most. And it was kind of a tough decision because it was like, do we want something that enrobes it in a tube, or do we want to come across a conveyor belt, or what do we think the students would have the most fun with? And we actually thought, and what would they be able to use practically? And it was being able to make hard fillings or make a chocolate bar that you can actually make the shape of it and then run it through the chocolate and it covers both sides. So, and I mean, growing up, I always wondered how they got the caramel in the caramel bar. So the enrobing machine is what we use for that. So kind of very excited for us to get this machine.
I mean, this just makes me think of something that's an added bonus of our campus, is that we have so many amazing tools in our kitchens that if you work in a small restaurant, you're probably not going to have access to a chocolate tempering machine or a enrobing machine, or even steam injected ovens. So I know that our students appreciate it when they can actually see how these more complicated tools like meat grinders and combi ovens and kind of specialty equipment, how they work.
Yeah, and then the charcuterie lab is another, I mean, that's the course I, as an instructor, want to take. I mean, I find it completely fascinating. So we do have such amazing equipment, opportunities, and specialties that many of the other colleges just don't have, that we have the ability to offer.
I know there was a couple questions there in the chat about the uniform. So I'm not sure if you guys wanted to clarify that for everyone that's on the call, just in case they can't see the chat.
Our uniforms are completely supplied by the school. You get a full chef pants, chef jacket, you get your chef jackets, you get 3 of them, and we wash them on campus. Your toolkit now comes with your tuition. So when you come now, realistically, we just need your body. We need you to come, and the rest of it is taken care of through the school, which to me is amazing. You don't have to wash anything other than your chef pants. I think you can handle that. You can throw them in with your jeans. They're washable with those. And the rest of it, we supply, and anything that isn't in your kits, we have at the school for you to use. So we're not asking you to go and buy anything else.
Good point.
Thank you so much for that. I know there was some concerns if students were living on campus where they have to worry about laundering it themselves. So that's great to know. We have another question here. Which programs will allow access to charcuterie courses?
I can take that. So we have the 1- and 2-year programs. In the first year, we do some basic garde manger classes where you would learn the cold kitchen or pantry basics. And I'm talking salads, cold appetizers, hors d'oeuvres, things that come out of that pantry part of the kitchen. And then there is an introduction to charcuterie where there's some fundamentals of learning how to use a meat grinder, a stuffer to make basic sausages. We do some fundamental sort of building blocks of charcuterie, but in the second year is where it gets a little more complicated with, making salami that's air dried and fermented, and making different sort of more complicated things like smoking and aging meats and that sort of thing. So we approach everything as building blocks. So in the first year, you get the real fundamentals. And in the second year is when you specialize in these things.
Thank you so much. We have 2 more questions and a hard stop at 11. So hopefully we can answer these quickly. So it says—
One quick thing about charcuterie, sorry to interrupt.
Mm-hmm.
If you check out the Instagram account for Canadian Food and Wine Institute, there are pictures in there from the labs, and I was just thinking about that because they posted a bunch of pictures from the charcuterie lab yesterday. Sorry, Mavis, go ahead.
Absolutely. So a couple quick questions. So will culinary students get to work with the greenhouse, like asking them to grow a specific vegetable or spice? Maybe we can talk about how our enterprises work together.
I can start off with that one. So we don't have the ability to custom grow because we have to respect that they've got things planned out, but they do supply us with lettuces, herbs, tomatoes, cucumbers, and so on. And I have to tell you, from the perspective of somebody who works there, you can't believe how proud I am when I see a student from horticulture walking into the kitchens with vegetables that were grown, I'm not exaggerating, 25 meters away. It's a mind-blowing experience. It's like having a customized thing prepared right for you. It's awesome. We even have our own honey. The brewery has their own hops. We have a vineyard for the winery. So for somebody that's interested in food and beverage, you're like a kid in a candy store at our campus.
Thank you so much. And for the baking and pastry arts program, would you recommend any particular prep work or things to practice or research in advance of starting the program in January?
No, we like fresh, just kind of there, and then we put it all. If you come kind of too prepared, then it's very hard for us to change how you're thinking. And we want to start right at ground zero with you.
Thank you, Catherine. Awesome. I see that we've shared the Instagram there. So if you guys would like to look at the Instagram posts that Chef Olson was mentioning, you can see those there in the chat. Does Niagara College accept change of programs? If so, does changing your programs mean you have to change the courses? So we do have an academic advisor that can help you with planning if you do have to make any changes throughout the year. The nice thing about, as mentioned, the culinary skills program and the culinary management is it does have that common year, but there's always some kind of support to help you plan that next pathway if you do decide to change your program.
And you know, the students that I see really thriving are ones that sometimes go through those changes. For example, somebody that starts off with a 1-year chef skills program and then takes the baking program. I mean, they're a double threat because they're comfortable in the savory kitchen. They're also very comfortable in the bake shop, and that makes you a really employable person.
Especially in this day and age, because a lot of the restaurants want them to be able to do both.
Yeah.
Well, I think that really concludes our session for today. So I do want to just thank everybody for attending on behalf of CFWI and Niagara College. Have a great day, everybody. Thank you.
Joining us.
Thanks to everyone who joined us today.